Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. If this is your first time joining, say hi in the comment. Let us know it's your first time so I can shout you out. Good morning, Dejan. Good morning, Mensa from NYC. Good morning, Chris. Um, if this is your first time tuning in, definitely give us a shout out. If it's not your first time, still give a shout out. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I am personally in Florida right now. If you've never tuned in or this is your first time tuning in, my name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration attorney and I present clients all over with their immigration matters. Doesn't matter what state you're from, I present in all 50 states. My number here is 407-995-6567. And you can send us a message on WhatsApp as well. That is 404-333-8751. Okay, so let me see what's here. Oh, Sarah, your hair is so beautiful. Thank you. I actually don't love it, but thank you. I appreciate that. You saying it, but thank you. Let me see who else. Good morning, Oyen William. Good morning, Erika. Good morning, Everblessed. Thank you so much. Yes, Mansa, it's good to see you again. Good morning, Lady Mish from Minnesota. Sweet Mom from Deltona. Good morning, Joy Mamudu on Facebook. Good morning, Maureen. Good morning, Yolanda. Good morning. Okay, Maureen, you're from Houston, Texas. Good morning, Carl on YouTube. Good morning, Melissa. Okay, guys. So I got a good topic for you guys today. I want to talk about, work permits. Who's entitled to a work permit? How can you get a work permit? This is the number one question that we get DM'd about. This is the number one question that we get asked about. So let's break it down. So, how does one get a work permit in the United States? So, in order for you to get a work permit in the United States, if you don't, you're not a green card holder or a US citizen, something has to qualify you for a work permit. What I mean by that is you can't just put in an application, and say, I want to get a work permit because I've lived in the United States for 20 years or I've lived in the United States for, 50 years or whatever it is. Something has to qualify you. So now let's talk about what could qualify you to work here. For instance, if you are submitting a petition, if let's say you overstayed in this country, right, and you're submitting a petition, okay, as the spouse of a US citizen, as the child under 21 of a US citizen, or as a parent of a US citizen who is over the age of 21. If you put a petition for a green card, you will be qualified in that situation to get a work permit. Okay. If you put in an asylum petition, you will be qualified after a certain number of months to apply for a work permit. If you are submitting a petition based on abuse, so VAWA, your spouse has been abusive to you, your child has been abusive to you, your parent has been abusive to you, you will be able to, depending on visa availability, most likely you would be able to do a concurrent filing and apply for a work permit in that situation. Um, and I can see you guys comments. I'll get to all of them once I finish my topic. And feel free to ask your questions because once I finish talking, I will answer your questions. Okay, so what other category? Also, same thing, if you apply for a U visa, now, you can technically get a work permit as well. Start, because before you have to wait till they make a decision, but now, somewhere along the lines, you can get one. What other category can you get a work permit? And then there are work permits that people get because they are students. So, for example, if you are an F1 visa and you come into the United States as a student, when you graduate, you can do what we call OPT. OPT is occupational training. Occupational training allows you to get a work permit to work for that duration. Your occupational training can be 1 year or it can be renewed for 3 years. 3 years if you are in a STEM major, so STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Otherwise, you get 1 year and then you try to match for your H-1B. Okay. Another category is if you come into the United States um, as an E2 visa holder. So I'm just going to glaze over this just because I don't want you guys calling me about E2s since I don't handle E2s. But E2s are if you are an investor into the United States, so your spouse can work, get a work permit to work while you work on the business that gave you the E2 visa. So, like, let's say you purchase like a McDonald's franchise. I'm just picking a random thing. So when you come in on an E2, you have to work in that E2 thing that you purchased, but your spouse can work anywhere else with a work permit. Um, and then some people come here on an H2B visa. If you come here on an H2B visa, you can work, but obviously you're very limited in what you can do. So I don't want to focus on those. I want to focus on work permits that allow you to get any job and work anywhere. And so those are the ones that I just covered now. So that's really how you can get a work permit. So no, you can't just kind of like wake up and say, oh, I want to get a work permit, because unfortunately it just doesn't work that way. Okay, so let's answer some questions. Good morning, Pike from Ghana. Good morning, Novelette. I'm loving this new Facebook thingy. Good morning, Chandel. Chandel, so good morning, blessed woman of God. Your hair looks fabulous. Keep doing the great work you're doing. Thank you so much. Good morning, Oluwashola. So Flavor says, how do you employ directly from outside the country? So I'm going to glaze over this as well, just because I don't handle employment law. So I don't want anybody calling me for employment immigration, only family immigration or humanitarian-based immigration. But generally, in order for you to hire somebody, first of all, it depends on what category you're hiring. So, most of the time when people are asking that, if you're hiring someone that's a skilled worker or an unskilled worker, you first of all have to be certified to hire that person. And what that means is that you have put out the job. You have put out the job to the people in America or the people where you live, and for whatever reason, nobody qualifies for that job. And you have somebody that is qualified the job and wants to take the job outside of the United States. And at that time, you're going to have to do what we call a labor certification. You're going to have to be able to show, one, you can pay for the person, you can pay their salary. So for those of you that deduct, and have nothing to show as your revenue, this will not be good. If you're trying to do that, you want to make sure that you show that you make money, right, in your business. And then you can apply for the person. So this process, it takes a little bit of a long time, but that will be the first step. This is actually a good time, honestly, if you have the ability to do that. The reason being because before they would say, well, you can always find like somebody to do the job, but right now there is an employment scarcity. Like, I'm not sure what's going on, but it is really hard to find good staff, good labor. I mean, I will tell you this: my kids' school just canceled lunch because it said there was nobody they were short staffed at Panera Bread. Panera Bread of all places. How are they short staffed? So the point of what I'm saying is that, so if you want to do it, if you're trying to hire somebody outside, this is probably a good time because labor is short right now. So if you put that job out there and nobody qualifies or nobody's following the instructions of what you've asked them to submit, you can try and get people outside of the United States. Then there are obviously some categories that you don't need an employer to sponsor them, but you're asking about sponsoring. Hi, Angie Gold. Renman says, can you please help my boyfriend? Well, I don't know your boyfriend or what his matter is, so you can certainly schedule a consultation. Let's talk and see what's up with him. And I'll be happy to see if I can help him. My number is 407-995-6567. You're welcome. Melissa says, can I apply for VAWA after 3 months divorce from a U.S. citizen? Absolutely. So you are still eligible for a VAWA application if you qualify for VAWA up until 2 years after divorce. Now, if you've been divorced for 2 years, you can't just now file a new application. So you have to file your application before the 2-year anniversary of the actual divorce date. And I know people ask me these questions a lot. Well, what if I file VAWA and then I get divorced from my spouse and my spouse wants to divorce me? That is fine as well. As long as your application has hit USCIS, it doesn't really matter whether they divorce you or not. You can keep moving with that. Okay, so let me see what other questions I have here. Um, let's see. Tamika says, hi, you're looking beautiful. Today is December 13th, and I received my receipt notice for my VAWA case on the 5th of October, and I've not received anything to do with my biometrics. I've not heard from my lawyer, from USCIS. Can you please tell me what's happening? Tamika, you should be contacting your lawyer. If you have a lawyer, you should be contacting your lawyer. Your lawyer knows what's going on with your case. So that is what you need to do. Call your lawyer. And if your lawyer is not communicating with you, that's unfortunate. But I think sometimes, lawyers get a bad rap where you say, you've not heard from your lawyer, but you don't even really ask the lawyer what's going on. That being said, you're still within normal processing time. You wouldn't have received the biometrics if you just submitted your stuff in October. This is just December, 2 months. I don't foresee you receiving a biometrics, for a few. So you're still well within the timeline. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with your case. And I'm only saying that based on what you've just written. I don't know what other particularities are your case, but you should call your lawyer. Let's see, what else do I have here? If I put in my paperwork next month, how long is the wait to get a green card? Dejan, there's so many paperwork that leads to a green card. So without knowing what you're asking, I won't be able to give you like a time range. Like, what paperwork are you putting in? Are you doing a marriage-based case? Are you doing what are you doing basically? Sheik says, good morning. I have a VAWA prima facie, and I'm in removal proceedings in Atlanta. Can you represent me? I'm not taking any new removal cases right now, so unfortunately, I won't be able to represent you, but I'll be happy to refer you to one or two of my colleagues. You can call our office. How old should your marriage sponsor be? Your marriage sponsor, so meaning like a joint sponsor? Is that what you're asking? Ebby Silver, this is for you on Instagram. Are you talking of your spouse? Or are you talking about a joint sponsor? I would say at the very minimum, the person that is married to you should be 18 or whatever the legal age is in whatever state you're in. But the key thing is they're over that age, and they are able to, most 18-year-olds are not able to financially support unless they're just rich. So really, realistically, you want somebody that's over the age of 21 that has a job, and can show that in their income, and they can meet the income requirement to file for you. You're welcome, Tamika. Okay, so Dejan said he wants to know when he will get his green card. Well, he or she, I don't know if you're he or she. If you file a marriage-based petition. Well, if you file a marriage-based petition, every state is different right now, but we're not seeing earlier than 12 months. We're not seeing earlier than 12 months. And we have a sprinkle of people who got approved, a month 11 or a month 9, or, I think the earliest I had was 4 months, which is a fluke. That doesn't happen normally right now in the world of COVID, but putting your mind that it's going to take at least 12 months. I will tell you that in Florida, especially since that's where majority of my interview attendance is, that it's usually about 12 months from the date when you submit that you get your you go to your interview, and if they approve you, because that's the other thing, that's to go to your interview. But as far as approval can happen anytime after your interview. But keeping in mind that it will take at least 12 months to get an interview. If you're in Georgia and Atlanta is about 12 months as well. Delectable says, can I renew my work permit if I have an NOID? Yes, you can renew your work permit. Hopefully you don't get a denial and you have a strong response to your NOID. For those who don't know what NOID means, it means a notice of intent to deny. It means that notice of intent to deny. So they haven't denied you. So that means your case is still pending. So you can file for renewal. Now, the problem is that renewals are taking literally 10 to 12 months. It's ridiculous. right now, work permit renewals, how long they're taking. Yes, they may try to make this change to your work permits just so people don't have to file renewal, but I feel like it's been worse since then. So honestly, I don't really know. But yeah, you can file for renewal. Um, Krishna says, "Good morning, Poughkeepsie, New York. Be safe and be good. Thank you, Poughkeepsie." I always say that that's where I got my first job when I came to the United States. I worked at Stewart's in Poughkeepsie, so I always remember Poughkeepsie. All right, let's see what other questions. Brandon says, "Good morning to you. Thanks for the great job you're doing. Awesome. Thank you. Good morning, Sandra. You're welcome, Melissa. Good morning, Afyoung. Um, Angie says, "What is the first step to a K1 visa?" The first step is to make sure that you have actually seen your fiance. So people always ask, this question about fiance visas and have a fiance outside the country. The key requirement is that you have seen your fiance at least once in the last 2 years and that you're a United States citizen. First and foremost, that's the first and foremost thing. Obviously, maybe last year, a lot of people had a hard time because we had all this travel ban, so people were not traveling. And we're not able to see their fiancés, and it would have been a good excuse then. But generally you should probably see the person that you're getting married to. Honestly, I'm sure you guys watch 90 Day Fiance and you see what happens. So that is the first step, to see them. The next step is that you're going to have to apply, first of all, to establish the person as your fiance here in the United States. Once that is approved, then it moves over to the consulate or whatever country that person is in. um, and Andrew says, doing the police report from the country, yes, they do, and that will be in the second step after the initial petition has been approved. So they will, anybody come from outside the United States, wanting to or intending to have immigrant intent, they want to make sure that they're clear with it. And yes, Andrew, we assist with that. So please feel free to call me 407-995-6567. If you've been married to an American, been in the process of getting a green card, but their marriage problems now, can this person apply for VAWA? Yes, if you're eligible, you can apply for VAWA. I would love to screen you to see if you qualify. 407-995-6567. Sonia says, "I'm a green card holder since 2018. I've been physically present in the U.S. since 2019. How long am I supposed to be physically present to qualify for citizenship?" Well, it depends on what you're qualifying based on. Are you qualifying based on marriage or something else? So if you're qualifying based on marriage, you have to be physically present for at least half of the time. So like half a year and a half out of 3 years. Now, based on what you're saying, you got your green card in 2018, but you've been physically present since 2019 September. So are you saying that you were out of the country for that whole time before you came back in? If you're starting your count again, you're starting from September 2019, and use that to determine when you're eligible. You'll be eligible 3 years from that date of when you entered into the country. And in that time, you want to make sure that you've been in America for at least half that time. If you're not doing it based on continued marriage to somebody, for 3 years, then the eligibility is 5 years. And you want to show that you've been present in the United States for at least 2.5 years of that time. Okay. Novelette says, "If you're married for a year and you only have a bank account together because your husband is unemployed, can I still file a marriage-based case?" Yeah, you can still file a marriage-based case. A lot of times, and I talk about this a lot, when we're looking at evidence, or when USCIS is looking at evidence, they're looking for credible evidence. So not having one thing is not going to be an automatic disqualification. So you just want to show different things to show that you live a normal married life. Some people may only have may not have a bank account, but there should be other things that show the legitimacy of your marriage. So not having one particular thing is not going to disqualify you. Not having anything at all might be a problem, but try to get other things, to strengthen your case. If the wedding is almost 4 years and you just decide to put in your papers, is there any issue? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, for you, because you've been married for 4 years, two things are going to happen. One, if they do approve you, you're going to get a 10-year green card instead of a 2-year conditional green card. The second thing is, because you've been married for 4 years, they will be expecting you to have more bona fides and more records of your marriage than somebody who's been married for like 5 months, because you may not have acquired that much. So in that 4 years, I really hope that you and your spouse have been acquiring things to show the legitimacy of your marriage. Good morning, Slong Squad. It's double. Says, can I file for a work permit as a non-US citizen while being in the country? So you must have just tuned in, and I just talked about this. So when I get off live, just rewind this and watch it from the beginning, and you will hear when I talked about that. Um, so Dee Dee says, if I contract with you, do you go to the interview with your client? Yes. Sometimes I do. Sometimes one of my colleagues goes. Sometimes I do a telephone appearance. So it just depends on what's going on both with you and both myself and my own schedule. But I always believe that every client should go with an attorney, not because there's much we can do while we're at the interview, but we're there just to make sure that they are going by the law, and that if something goes wrong, that somebody is there to advocate for you. So for a lot of my clients, thanks to COVID right now, it's easy for me to do a telephone appearance, meaning that I'm still at the interview. The officer just puts me on a speakerphone, and I'm able to talk or interrupt when I need to, or say, well, what are you handing my client? Can you read out the documents? What is he signing or what is she signing? So yeah. Let's see. Erica, you can schedule a consultation if you want to know the things that you're going to need. 407-995-6567, and we can talk about representation and what you would need to do. And then Man Leo says, can your divorced wife help you get a green card since you guys were no longer together? I really don't understand that question. If you and your spouse are divorced, they can't file a petition for you, if that's what you're asking. Now, if you're divorced and you qualify to self-petition because your spouse was abusive towards you, and that's why you're divorced, then that is a different story. Then you can get your own green card yourself without your spouse. But as far as a spouse helping you, you actually have to be married. King Gang, good morning from the boogie down. Let's see who else is asking a question. Carrie, good morning from PC. Where's PC? Is that Panama City? Okay, so let me see what else before I end this live. Okay, so do you guys have any other questions for me? Okay. Dintley says, I have a question. What happens if you can't find your partner for a divorce while you file for VAWA? You should ask your divorce lawyer that question. Divorce is a very state-specific law, and every state has different rules. Most states have a rule of default judgment, where they've tried to serve somebody and serve somebody and serve somebody, and they can't find them where they can grant you the divorce. But you have to speak to a local lawyer in your state to tell you what the rules are. Arika says, can you represent someone in Atlanta? Of course, we have an office in Atlanta. We can definitely represent you. And if I'm available while we're in Atlanta, I will attend your interview in the office. Okay. My number, Weber, is 407-995-6567. Okay, this is the last question I am taking today. Good morning. Can my boyfriend in Ghana get a U.S. work authorization and apply for work visa with the USCIS first without a specific job petitioning for him? Unfortunately, no. He can't get a work permit. Now if he if there is a job here that is filing for him for an H-2B, or something that's bringing him here in a J-1, J1 visa is also another type of work visa, but sometimes it has limitations where you have to go back to your home country for 2 years. Then he can do it that way. I've not seen, in my experience, Ghana being one of the countries that do H2Bs and J1s. We tend to see that more with the Caribbean countries or like South Africa, we see J1s, but most of the time H2B type visas, you tend to see that more with the Caribbean countries, which are really close by, and a lot of times like resorts and hotels and stuff like that. Vacation locations here will hire them and bring them in here, like as farm workers or things of that nature. But with Ghana, I haven't seen that, but who knows? Okay, guys. If I didn't answer your question, I will try to answer them tomorrow. Generally, I come on live sometime between 9 to 10. So just put your notification, subscribe to my channel on YouTube. You guys, I am I think 100 people away from 9,000 followers on Facebook. So I will love for you guys to share this video if it's been helpful to you so that other people can also get the tea and the information. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.